love, exciting, and new. Come aboard. We've been expecting...
Wait. Yeah, I think that was the Love Boat theme.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, that was Love Boat.
This is our wedding video. I think we need to like jazz it up a little bit.
Okay. Like, for example...
I'm the king of the world!
Oh, right.
Exactly.
Okay. Forget it. You know what?
I don't think he liked it.
Let's just go back to the original script that we came up with and agreed on, and we'll just go with that. Just start with the bus opening, and we'll just go from there.
Okay.
So,
Sounds
please,
good.
in 3, 2.
Hi! We are so incredibly honored that you all would be here today.
Y'all.
That y'all would be here today, traveling from so far. We have people from California, from Buffalo, New York,
Misery.
from Missouri, from Dallas, Texas, from Portland, Oregon,
Whoop, whoop.
Kentucky,
Atlanta, Hotlanta.
ATL, and CLT. All of our folks from Charlotte.
I'd like to thank my brother Nate on camera.
Who flew in the furthest? Does he have the record?
We didn't say Amsterdam. Oh!
But let's play that back. Okay. We'd like to thank all the people from Atlanta.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam!
We're so glad that you'd make the trip for us. We are just so excited that you would be here to celebrate what to us is going to be the best day of our lives. So thank you so much for just being here, and I really hope that you feel like a real honored guest because we are truly honored that you would be here for us.
What she said.
So at this point, we would really like to introduce our bus ushers.
We like to call them bushers.
So bushers, if you would take this opportunity to introduce yourself to the bus and give them some instructions about the goodie bag in front of them.
Go for it.
Did you see? I think we should be crossed in.
That's not as comfortable for me.
All right, well, couples who cross in are happier.
Are we crossing? We're not crossing? I want to...
I'm not. I can't do that.
So you guys excited about today?
So excited.
So excited about today.
It's been a long time coming.
It has a good 30 years.
Yeah, no, we're super excited. You know, it's been such a long time that we've been together-ish, on and off.
And that's what we want to hear more about today. So take us back to the beginning of Megathon. Could be a megathon.
Yeah, well, I would love to tell you about the beginning of how we met, but the beginning is a little elusive because there are two beginnings, technically. So it was back in July of 2010, and we were both part of a field day. It was a bunch of young professionals that were getting together to just play, random field games. And I was on a team. I had put together a team from Elevation, and he was on another team. I'd never met him before, but he was on a team of mutual friends from another ministry in town, Charlotte One. And I just thought, ooh, who is that? And I had seen him, I had at least seen his pictures because we have so many mutual friends before. And we, the two of our teams actually made it to the finals. And pretty much because we were the only sober teams out there because we were the Christian ministries. And
but only one team won, and that is me.
Yeah, they won the whole thing, but
they were a close fourth.
We destroyed them on the volleyball court. Actually, shout out to Danae, who's here today. She single-handedly destroyed his team on the volleyball court.
I wasn't playing in that particular event.
But it was after the volleyball court where we were moving to the next event where we were just keeping pace across the field. And it was like all time stood still.
It was like a Disney fantasy.
It was like Prince Charming dressed in gym shorts.
But I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, I was going to say, because my notes say that first one was less than inspirational for Mr. Grubbs. So
I had to retell the story just as I told it to him on our first meeting.
So the first meeting...
I remembered it later. Once she explained, she had been telling me, though, we've met before, this isn't the first time. I remembered what she was wearing, the color of t-shirt of her team, and that she had her hair back, and exactly on what field and where on the field we were walking. I remembered it. I just needed to, I didn't put together that those were the same cute blondes.
Same cute blonde.
So then there was a second first date.
Yeah, well, then we officially met for
first meeting.
That was at a place that's now shut down or converted into another space. It's called Butter. And for two people who don't go to nightclubs, it was at a nightclub. But it was for a benefit for a charity that we were both participating in.
That was a very rough way to say it. I like to tell friends that I met this lovely wife-to-be at a benefit for saving homeless children. And this is a true story because it really was.
To save homeless children.
We really were.
And so we were, I was just socializing with some friends, and it was just a mix and mingle type thing. And I saw him checking me out from across the room, and he took that as a cue to shimmy over and say hello.
So I heard that he shimmied on over and to say hello to you.
Shimmy he did.
I did not shimmy.
He shimmied.
And so, yeah, we were just talking to some friends that he knew that I was talking to. And, he just came over and sort of sheepishly introduced himself as Jonathan Grubbs. And then he started with the cheesy pickup lines.
Well, I've heard about these.
So she had been talking to some friends that I knew from Charlotte One, which was the Christian Young Professionals group that I'd been hanging out with. And she had been talking to them, so I was like, all right, you know the same people that I know, but how come I don't know you? Because you are the most incredible girl I've ever seen. I was like, a Christian, a hot young woman.
And I went to Elevation Church.
And I did probably throw out some very cliche pickup lines.
For example?
Checking her tag and just like I thought, made in heaven, or the is your dad a baker?
Happened.
Because you've got a nice set of buns? No.
He didn't say
I didn't
that.
do that one.
I would have hit him.
Yeah, so I was having what I thought was a great conversation with Megan. And was really just super interested, and she seemed interested back to an extent. And yeah, a random friend came up that we both knew, and he literally stood between us and stood there and stared.
Like, not as part of the conversation, but sort of here. And so it just was sort of an awkward way to insert himself into the conversation, and so...
But we love you, whoever you are.
He took that as a cue to sort of close up the conversation.
But I knew that she knew Andy Denton, who put on the event, and so I asked Andy. I was like, Andy, tell me everything you know about Megan, because that girl is amazing from what I can tell. And Andy's like, yeah, man, she is. You should totally go for it. And I was like, but this other guy said that, she's intense. And I was like, she might be, but she's perfect for you. He's like, I think you'll be great. And I was like, oh, okay. And because of that, I went on to pursue her. So
he pursued me through social media. So he sent me a tweet.
So yeah, so I sent out a couple of direct message tweets.
And if you're lucky enough to be sitting at the butter table tonight, you can read those direct messages on your table.
Some screen grabs.
The first communications.
The words of wisdom there were, do not listen to the shot blocker.
Yeah, the shot blocker. We'll call him that.
Call him that. Don't listen to the shot blocker. Get a second opinion, maybe.
True.
Okay, fellas. So there's that. Let's take it forward to the first date. Because I understand that was amazing.
I think it could be, in general, of all times, one of the worst dates ever.
Wow, okay.
So when he had called me to arrange a date, he really wanted to take me somewhere that I'd really like to go. And so he gave me a couple ideas, and I was like trying to make it affordable and pretty convenient. So I suggested that we go to Fleming Steakhouse downtown. Uptown Charlotte has 5 specials for $6 till 7 o'clock Monday through Friday. And so he was game for that. So he came and he picked me up from my apartment building. Came right to the door. But it was super weird right off the bat because he brought a gift with him, which a gift in general.
Now that's a nice idea.
Yeah.
Come on, a gift. I like him already.
Yeah. So, but when I opened it, it was actually a wedding cake cutter.
A knife.
No, it was a wedding cake cutter.
A knife.
He said that we
to a first date. Sounds good.
But he told me that we would use that wedding cake cutter. Keep in mind, we met a week ago on our wedding cake one day.
Wow.
So super weird. I was like,
foresight, maybe.
That could have gone one of two ways.
Yeah, it didn't go well for me. I was like, slow down, buddy.
Ladies on the bus, raise your hand if you think that was totally romantic, because it was. A wedding cake knife.
It was
on your first date.
Tonight you'll be eating a slice of cake cut with that very cake cutter.
That's a little magical, though, how that turned around.
So it was not magical at the time, though.
Not at the time.
And I felt like it was
creepy.
And
creepy.
So we go down to the parking garage, and I get in a car that wasn't his, which is no big deal. He just wasn't really used to that vehicle. And
it was a family car, and there were basically a bunch of fries maybe on the floorboard, and probably haven't been washed in maybe 4 months, and probably Happy Meal toys or something. It was not what you would go to impress a girl with on a first date.
That's hot.
But it was only because I had donated my car to this family member to take it out to a road trip or moving or something. I can't even remember what it was, but I was really just trying to, do the best for someone else. And I was like, if she doesn't like me in this car, she won't like me in life.
And how are we standing financially at this point, would you say? You were this wealthy man about town,
Let me just put it this way.
He was broke.
Well,
he was broke.
2 days before our first date, I had already asked her out. 2 days before our first date, the government decided to garnish my bank account and totally flush all of it away. And I knew that I had to impress her still. This whole tax thing I was taking care of eventually. Don't worry about that. I didn't even mention it. I was like, I don't want it to ever come up because that's immediate run for the girls. So I borrowed a couple $100 from my dad, and he didn't know I was going to go splurge it all on one date. But so I used that, and so I was very much like, I have to think financially. Let's soft spending.
We're sitting there, we've placed our order, and he decides to wonder out loud as he's flipping through a menu if she's worth a $40 bottle of wine. Question mark. I heard it. I heard that. There are things that you can't unhear in life, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
I admit that was a bad move. That was a really...
It did not set the tone well for the rest of the evening. He had already forgotten that we had met once. He had already talked about his ex-girlfriend. I had already sat on some mashed up French fries. And then he wanted to know if I was worth a $40 bottle of wine.
However,
what?
The redeeming quality of this all took place this year, March 31st. We went back to the same restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I told the bartender we sat in near the exact seats. I said, bartender, send me a bottle of your nicest red wine because we're going to party because she's worth it.
She's worth every penny. Worth it. And he made sure the whole bar knew that I was worth every penny of that bottle of wine. Ooh. And then he said, so now you can put a cork in it.
Now, a lot of people don't realize that being in the production world, we require 2-3 takes from time to time to get things right.
Yeah.
So know this, there will be times he'll need a second, third, 24th take.
He's had about 24 takes. So this is going to be a really, really good movie because we're just...
Get a room. Okay, so we're going to get into that right after this. So, Megan, would you say that Jonathan Grubbs has dated a few women?
I would say he's dated a lot of women.
For example, just give us a number. How many?
Oh, like maybe... Lots.
So that would just say his January.
That would cover maybe a 3-month window.
Is it safe to assume there was something in those first couple of dates, though, that made you want to keep moving forward?
Yeah, I sort of was gathering like almost Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He had such a wonderful heart for the Lord. He was so earnest and at times so sincere, but his eyes are so mischievous. He has like such guilty eyes that like there was always something that just wasn't quite right. And for the little that I had sort of collected on the side that he would never tell me, but I had sort of gotten from our mutual friends, there was just some random question marks that I'm like, these two guys aren't really fitting together.
So there was a New Year's coming up where decisions were being made?
He broke up with me.
Okay.
And so New Year's didn't come for quite
I like to say that we broke up. I feel like it was mutual, but
it was not.
Wait, so how many times have you broken up?
2 or 3 maybe.
So have you broken up in the last week or so?
No.
You're together now, though, is the question.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've been together for a while.
We hung out for New Year's. I really wasn't sure if I wanted to hang out with her for New Year's because I always feel like New Year's is one of those times where if you hang out together, then it's kind of like you're dragged into a relationship sort of thing. And I was like, I just need some more time to figure this out. I was like, I'm not dating anybody. I just want to like know for sure. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, I was like, I can't live without her. And there was not a moment that I can remember between New Year's and that time that it was like a light switch went on. But at that point, it was just like, I'm in love with her. I like more than I ever have been. I knew that she was perfect, and I felt undeserving of even her perfection. But I now was super infatuated to the point of like I could never let her go. This is the one for me. This is the most amazing woman that I've ever known, and I love her.
And at the very beginning of 2013, I really don't know the date, and I really sort of wish I did. I wish it had been like a moment or a conversation or something that we could point to, but it really wasn't. And I think that might be for the better, just because it took a progression of a couple of weeks, really, and I knew that he was really here to stay, and he is a changed man, really, since that time.
So at some point, you're like, I want to spend the rest of my life with this girl?
So she was talking, we were sitting on her back patio of her apartment, and she was talking about how exhausted she was from work and just needed to get away, needed a break, needed to have something to look forward to. I suggested, let's go to the Grove Park Inn. And she was game for that. And literally in 5 or 10 minutes was on the phone with her credit card company that had this special deal. Like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's book it. Book, done. Okay, we're good.
And so I took Friday off. We drove up. This is late October 24th, 25th. And drove up. We went to some wineries.
The leaves were changing and it looked beautiful.
Yeah, it was the height of fall colors. Did some wineries, which are just, it's horrible wine here in North Carolina.
There are some great North Carolina wines. I definitely recommend it. Not the ones that we went to. We'll tell you those names later. Privately.
Yeah, these ones that we went to, it's certifiable. Terrible wine. So we rolled into the Grove Park Inn late on a Friday night and just had such a wonderful time. Views, it's so romantic, and bonfires, and just wonderful food. It's really the perfect scene for just romance. And
separate beds. We had separate beds.
We did. We always do.
And I'd already pursued getting a ring, and when we were looking at rings, just getting size and like, oh, this looks nice. She gave me one option here and one option there. One was enough to buy a car, and then the other one was like, okay, I like this one.
I didn't know. We had, talked about, just our future and just, how many kids do we want to have? Where do we want to live? What's life going to look like? So I knew it was going to come. We had gone once to just sort of ring shop, not because we needed to pick one out, but I'd never been. It seemed sort of fun. And so I knew eventually it would come, but I had no idea when he was going to actually pull the trigger.
As we were looking at the rings, they said, well, it's going to be at least, 6 to 8 weeks before this thing's ready to go.
And I heard 6 to 8 weeks for sure.
And later I talked to them and they're like, yeah, we'll have it in 4. And I'm like, sweet. That basically gives me a month that she won't be expecting it. And it was right around this time the Grove Park Inn came our trip, and I was like, she's going to expect Grove Park Inn. This is like one of the most romantic places in the area. That this is the weekend. Everybody always gets married at Biltmore, engaged at Biltmore. All these beautiful, and it's right in season of fall. All the colors, all the tourists are out. It is the time to get engaged. And so I knew that was going to work against me. And although she was maybe thinking, I would even tell her, I'm like, babe, they said it was like 6 to 8 weeks, so it's going to be a while before that comes in. So, don't be expecting anything. And she's like, oh, okay. So I thought I had kind of fooled her, but maybe I hadn't.
Sunday was the last day there, and we were going to go for a little hike, and he really had just been saying, the only thing that I really want to do, I want to go see, some waterfalls in the neighboring, around the Blue Ridge Parkway. And so I was like, all right, well, and we had a friend, Lucinda, who was in town in Asheville with her boyfriend, and she had been asking us if we wanted to go on a hike. And so he was like, yeah, you just talk to Lucinda about it. And so she and I were talking about the rendezvous point where we would meet and what time and everything. So I was really had a hand in planning the day, or so I thought.
So in preparation for this, I did happen to call a friend of mine that works in the film business, does locations for Last of the Mohicans and Hunger Games, and basically said, I want the most exotic, beautiful place near water in Asheville area. Where should I go? And so he pointed me, he walked through a couple places he recommended, sent me some pictures, and I'm like, okay, that's where I'm going to go. That's where Lucinda was told to bring us, to recommend. And that's where Megan agreed upon, not knowing that this was going to be her destiny all along. We got to the area, and there was, a lot of people around at the time. And I found a spot that I thought was a little out of the way. And I told Lucinda and the guy that was with her that whenever I set my camera bag down, that's your signal. Make yourself scarce. Get out of town. Go take some photos in the woods. And so I set my camera bag down, and almost immediately, Lucinda said, no, not here, not here. And I thank you, Lucinda. Thank you for doing that, because as she did say that, I did look, and there was a whole bunch of random kids and stuff nearby that I'd rather have it a little more personal. And so we moved on up to a different part of the waterfalls, and my idea was, I was taking photos, set my camera bag down. Lucinda and the gentleman with her went off and were hiding in the woods unknowingly. Actually, they were climbing the waterfalls. It looked like they were just doing what people do. And taking pictures, and my idea was take pictures. Megan, I need a different lens out of my bag. Will you grab it? Meanwhile, while her back is turned to me to get things out of the bag, she's unzipping it, and she sees this playing card, which we had been writing love notes on back and forth. This one was the Queen of Diamonds, though. It was special. She opens it up, turns it around to me because it says, "Will you marry me?" And I'm on a knee behind her with the ring in hand.
It happened so fast at that point, but he went to get the lens out of the bag, and the bag fell open. And there was a playing card, which is the Queen of Diamonds, that had "Will you marry me" written on it. And playing cards are significant to us, and he's written me love notes on a bunch of them, and it said, "Will you marry me?" And there he was on one knee and like beaming with a ring in his fingers, and I was like, no, and I said yes right away, and then my second was like, "Did you ask my dad?" and of course he had, but yeah, it was really, really good work. Good work.
I kind of wish maybe I hadn't told every single part of her family that this was going to be the weekend and that there's going to be a party in town and we're going to celebrate. Because when she called all of them up on the drive home, totally, blown away by this, they're all like, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah.
No!
Everybody knew that I was getting engaged except for me, but which I'm so grateful. And we're so appreciative to Lucinda for her participation, and we had some great photos from it, and those are really, really special to us. So yeah, the rest is sort of history.
October 27th, 2013. And now here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you've got a chart. Look at that.
All our special.
Okay, talk us through this chart of yours.
All right. So this was the day of butter. So we're just
we're going with a second
at a benefit. Yeah, the benefit of the child's
I like
play.
to say first time.
as the official date.
The yellow
is
dress
the
night. And then here was the horrible first date at Fleming's. So on 3/31/13 14, we did it a whole lot better. Nice. So that was the better bottle of wine, or a bottle of wine. And then here, do you want to tell them about that?
It says "Moi," our first kiss. It was very romantic.
You don't remember our first?
That's a good story.
Whoa. Yep. This is what we just told you about, our engagement story at Grove Park Inn, Triple Falls. And then this is what you're all here to celebrate.
That's today.
Today.
So there's a lot of people that have helped get you to this day. So would you like to take a minute and just talk to anyone in particular? This is like our equivalent of the Oscar thank you speech. If it gets too long, we'll play you off the stage. But feel free.
Yeah. Well, we'd first and foremost love to thank our parents who have just really stuck with us. I mean, through thick and thin, obviously, but more so like through our whole relationship being what it has been, what it is now. They've been through every phase of it with us and have just been so supportive of each other, of just being an example to us of what these vows that we're about to make, what they really mean. Really, so many thanks again to Lucinda for being part of our engagement day. It really couldn't have been any more special than it was. It was amazing, and she was such a large part of it, and has been such a wonderful friend to both of us. But just really been such a wonderful spirit. And then to my bridesmaids, who are just such wonderful friends to Rebecca Schick and Jen Zeta, and of course to my matron of honor, my sister Gretchen Chapman. All three of them have been married, and they've been around the block before, and they've just got so many words of encouragement, and they just handle their marriages and handle motherhood for Becky and Jen so similarly to how I would want to raise my kids, that I feel like I have so much support and encouragement there to just give me a little bit of insight into how to love this man better.
I would just like to thank each of you, everyone sitting on the bus, including our bushers and our bus drivers. Thanks for driving safely up that mountain, which is about to be dangerous.
I'm nervous for you.
And one of the limos actually may or may not be able to get all the way to the top, so we'll hope that we'll be up there with you. I'd just like to thank each and every one of you for coming out. On behalf of Megan and myself, you mean so much to us, and I look forward to getting to know the Griffiths family and the Griffiths family friends, and I hope you look forward to meeting the Grubbs and all of my crazy friends. We're just really appreciative for all that you've done, for our own life lessons that we've learned from you, and just so glad to have you in our life and get to share this special moment, and for you to travel from everywhere to be here.
So grateful.
I would just like to also thank the pastors that are officiating the wedding today. Those guys you're about to meet are crazy in love with Jesus. And we're just really thankful. I'm thankful to have them in my life. But we just thank you again for being here. And God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your ride and the music.